Life is as delicate as a flower blooming on a spring branch, and just as fleeting. Sometimes we don't realize how the years have passed, but a single moment, a glance, or a touch can remind us how precious time is. What if there are silent signs whispering that time is drawing to a close? These signs don't ring like an alarm bell. Instead, they drift into our lives quietly, like an autumn leaf falling to the ground. If you look closely, these signs carry a message. Prepare, say goodbye, love, and perhaps forgive. This article is not just about providing information. It's about awakening that quiet voice in your heart that says, be ready. I'm inviting you on a journey. One where you'll better understand your loved ones and perhaps confront yourself. If you're ready, let's begin. 1. Unexplained and persistent weight loss. The body's silent cry. Susan's father, George, was 78 years old. He would talk to the flowers in his garden and sip his coffee every morning under the shade of an apple tree. But one day, he had to tighten his belt by an extra notch. At first, no one thought much of it. It's just old age, they said. His appetite's not what it used to be. But a few months later, George's shirts began to hang loosely on him. His arms grew thinner, and his face paled. 6 months later, he struggled to get out of bed. The weight loss wasn't just a few pounds, it was as if George's energy, his connection to life, was slowly fading away. Why does it happen? Unplanned and unexplained weight loss, especially in older adults, is a sign of serious systemic decline. According to a 2023 study from Harvard Medical School, sudden and involuntary weight loss in the elderly is often linked to progressive metabolic disorders, digestive system issues, or chronic illnesses. This condition manifests not only as fat loss, but also as a reduction in muscle mass, sarcopenia. The body becomes unable to use energy efficiently. Sometimes, this can be a warning sign of serious conditions like cancer, or it may simply be the body's way of saying, enough. What does it mean? If a loved one stops eating, it may not just be a lack of appetite. The body may no longer be signaling for fuel. Perhaps the intestines are struggling to absorb nutrients, or the cells can no longer process energy. More importantly, this can also point to a spiritual withdrawal. In the final stages of life, a person may lose interest in physical needs. Eating becomes merely a habit. What can you do? Instead of focusing on calorie counts, offer your loved ones the gift of togetherness, light soups, a favorite dessert, or the smell of a dish they loved in childhood. These offer far more than calories. A quiet dinner shared together can be more healing than a plate of food. When Susan, George's daughter, made his favorite tarhana soup, the tiny spark in George's eyes was worth everything. Try it yourself. Set a table together. Talk. Laugh. Because sometimes, a spoonful of soup is love itself. 2. Unrelenting fatigue and inner exhaustion. The cells surrender. Joe, an 82-year-old retired teacher, read his newspaper every morning, told old stories to his grandchildren, and took short walks in the garden. But in recent months, something changed. Getting out of bed in the morning took him half an hour. "I'm just a bit tired," he'd say, but the exhaustion in his eyes told a different story. It was as if Joe was weary not only in body but in soul. Why does it happen? This fatigue isn't just the result of a sleepless night or a busy day. The body begins to give up at the cellular level. The heart struggles to pump blood effectively. Oxygen doesn't reach the organs as it should. Metabolism slows, and energy production dwindles. According to a 2024 report from the Cleveland Clinic, chronic fatigue in older adults is often tied to heart failure, lung issues, or hormonal imbalances. But it's not just physical. There's a spiritual exhaustion too. In the final stages of life, a person may feel an inner sense of enough and surrender. What does it mean? Joe's fatigue wasn't just physical. It was as if his soul had grown tired of carrying the weight of years. This can be mistaken for depression, but it's different. In depression, a person may feel estranged from life, yet still fights. In this fatigue, they make peace with life. Instead of running, planning, or thinking about tomorrow, they choose to live in the moment. What can you do? Don't force energy on your loved ones. Instead of urging them to exercise or saying, "Come on, get up and move," Give them the gift of time. Spend a quiet morning together. When Joe's grandson played his grandfather's favorite old jazz record, the smile on Joe's face seemed to erase years of weariness for a moment. Watch a documentary, look through old photos, or play a song they love. These small moments are the greatest gifts you can give a weary heart. 3. Mental confusion and withdrawal. The safe embrace of the past. I'm about to tell you something very important. Please listen closely. Does your mother ask the same question over and over? Does your father retell a childhood memory every day? Perhaps your grandmother keeps mentioning a neighbor she hasn't seen in years? Most people dismiss this as forgetfulness. But it's more than that. It's the brain slowly retreating from social interaction. This isn't a disorder. It's part of the transition to life's final stage. Why does it happen? According to a 2022 study from Stanford University, in the final stages of life, the brain shifts its priorities to conserve energy. Instead of engaging in social interactions, learning new information, or making complex plans, it turns to the past. The past is safe. Memories and emotions there are stable. So, when your loved ones repeat the same story, it's their mind performing a farewell dance, seeking refuge in the moments they cherish most. What does it mean? This can be mistaken for neurological conditions like dementia or Alzheimer's. But it isn't always so. Sometimes, it's simply the soul's way of preparing. As a person nears the end of life, their mind detaches from the present and sails into the familiar waters of the past. When your mother talks about her childhood, it's not just forgetfulness, it's her desire to share a happiness she still feels in those memories. What can you do? Be patient. Listen to that story again and smile, because that story still holds something alive for them. It might even be their soul's farewell. If your mother tells you about an old summer vacation, ask her a question to bring it back. What did you eat at that beach, Mom? This will spark her mind and connect her to you. Look through old photos together or talk about childhood memories. This nourishes not only their soul but yours as well. 4. Persistent infections and unhealing wounds. The immune system's quiet surrender. Infections are common in old age, that's true. But think about this. If a loved one has needed antibiotics 3 times in the last 3 months, it might not just be a weak immune system, or perhaps a small cut lingers for weeks without closing. A wound on their toenail refuses to heal despite all care. This is the body quietly saying, I can't keep up anymore. Why does it happen? The immune system weakens with age. According to a 2023 report from the Mayo Clinic, the immune system's effectiveness in people over 70 can decrease by 30 to 40%. This limits the body's ability to fight infections. At the same time, blood circulation beneath the skin slows, reducing the oxygen and nutrients delivered to tissues, which makes wound healing difficult. Crucially, infection symptoms in older adults aren't always obvious. Instead of fever or chills, you might notice only fatigue, silence, or an unusual stillness. For example, if 80-year-old Aunt Aishi sits at the table one morning, leaving her coffee untouched, it could be a silent cry of an infection. What does it mean? This indicates that the body is struggling to find the energy to repair itself. The immune system, exhausted from years of battles, is worn out. A small wound can turn into a major infection because the body can no longer fully guard its castle gates. This isn't just physical, it can also signal a spiritual surrender. In life's final stage, a person may let go of their bodily struggle and enter a deeper acceptance. What can you do? Pay close attention to your loved ones. If a small wound isn't healing, consult a doctor. But beyond medical care, emotional support is vital. When Aunt Aishi's daughter noticed a wound on her mother's hand, she didn't just apply a bandage, sat with her in the garden, reminiscing about old neighbors. That brought a smile to Aishi's face. Approach them with love. Ensure a clean environment. Provide regular care. And most importantly, make them feel your presence. Sometimes, the only thing a wound needs to heal is the touch of a hand. 5. Changes in breathing and circulation. Life's graceful retreat. One morning at breakfast with your grandfather, you notice. His hands are cold. His lips are slightly bluish. His breaths are short and shallow. Perhaps he pauses mid-sentence while speaking. These signs may frighten you, but don't panic. They are the body's whisper that it is slowly retreating. Why does it happen? As we age, the heart and lungs lose their former strength. The heart struggles to pump blood adequately. The lungs can't process oxygen as effectively. A condition known in medicine as Cheyne-Stokes respiration is common in life's final stages. A few deep, rapid breaths followed by a pause. Then it starts again. This shows that the heart can no longer supply equal energy to all organs. The body directs energy only to vital organs. This is life's graceful way of stepping back. According to 2024 data from the American Heart Association, circulation and breathing issues in older adults are often linked to heart failure or chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD. What does it mean? These changes are not just physical, they reflect life's natural cycle. The body seems to say, it's time to rest. Cold hands, bluish lips, shallow breaths. These are signs that the body is preparing to leave the stage with one final dance. But this is not frightening, it's a natural part of life. What can you do? Comfort is the top priority at this stage. A humidifier can ease the air in the room. A soft pillow can make breathing easier. But most importantly, be there. If your grandfather is struggling to breathe, hold his hand, hum a song he loves, or simply sit quietly by his side. When 85-year-old Grandpa Mehmet held his grandson's hand, he said, "Don't be afraid, I'm okay." That moment was worth a lifetime to his grandson. Create these moments. Sometimes a touch is more powerful than 1,000 words. 6. The mind quiets. The soul speaks. The language of final farewell. Your grandmother looks at you but forgets your name. Perhaps she's recounting a childhood memory, but the dates and names are jumbled. Her sentences trail off. Her eyes drift to the distance. Yet when she holds your hands, her eyes seem to say, "I'm still here. I still love you." Why does it happen? In life's final stage, the mind can no longer distinguish between yesterday and today. The brain focuses on basic functions to conserve energy. According to a 2023 study from Johns Hopkins University, during this period, the brain prioritizes preserving emotional connections. Names, dates, and events may blur, but emotions remain vivid. This isn't a disorder, it's the soul speaking, free from the body's constraints. What does it mean? At this stage, your loved ones may drift from the physical world, but their emotional bonds remain strong. Your grandmother's repetition of the same story isn't just forgetfulness, it's the meaning she still finds in that story. Perhaps it's her final farewell, her way of embracing you one last time through that shared moment. What can you do? Be patient. Listen to that story again. Smile. Ask questions. What did you wear that day, Grandma? Or, how did you hum that song? This will spark her mind and connect her to you. Flip through an old photo album together or watch a movie she loves. When your grandmother's grandson reminded her of a childhood memory, her eyes lit up. That moment felt like time stood still. Create these moments. They nourish not only their soul, but yours as well. Closing, you still have time. If you've noticed a few of these 6 signs in your loved ones, know that you still have time. Time to prepare, to forgive, to say goodbye, to laugh together. Life offers us these moments, but it's up to us to seize them. Perhaps one morning, you'll spend an extra 10 minutes drinking coffee with your father. Maybe you'll flip through an old photo album with your mother, or perhaps you'll play your grandfather's favorite song. These small moments are worth a lifetime. If this article resonated with you, please say, "I'm here," because you're not alone. Thousands of people are living these moments. Sharing them can be the greatest healing. And remember, when the mind quiets, the soul speaks. Listen closely to that soul's voice. Take a step. Share this article with someone who needs this message right now. Maybe a friend, a relative, or even yourself. Because life finds meaning in the moments we share with those we love. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and join us on this journey. Because every moment is a chance to prepare for a farewell.